Well, I am trying out this new web extension for Chrome. I'm fucking around with a bunch of Chrome extensions, trying to put together a sort of cloud-based sort of Chrome profile. So in case I lose my computer or I got my phone or whatever I got, I have something I can go to. Sort of doing a lot of weird things here lately. Having some deep state thoughts, going through hell money-wise, not being able to do anything. Trying to find my voice and my place in the last season of my life. I kind of look at it that way. I was listening to a podcast the other day on NPR. I guess it wasn't a podcast, it was the actual radio. But anyway, the woman, it was some issue going on, and she was talking about the seasons of life, and she made this eloquent and witty sort of statement that stuck with me and still sticking with me about being in the last season of one's life. And well, I'm here, and I'm starting to see what my voice may be, and it's totally different than what I think it is, and I may starve to death in the last few years before I make something happen. I can't even get a donation for $1 here lately for anything. I do artwork. I do all this creative stuff. Nobody's listening. I do music. Doesn't seem to make a difference. But, I'm trying not to lose hope. I'm picking up after a really crappy holiday season where I was literally destitute down and up. I did have my feline little hand. Anyway, if you see my feed, you've seen all these crazy things I've been doing. I'm not going up the deep end or anything. I'm just sort of all over the place, trying to find my place. And I guess, every time I open news or Facebook or social media or listen to NPR or BBC, all these little things keep coming together, all these little dots. And it's like I'm coming full circle, but the missing link is something I have to sort of do before the end of my life to make the circle complete. Not to be deep, but in the course of thinking about a lot of things and stuff, ways to spend the last part of my life, I'm trying to see what I can get the biggest bang for the buck. I have a liver problem. I may not be here as long as most people. Everything looks good so far, but, everything was fine with my brother. And he died almost 2 years ago, 55. Now, he lived an unhealthy life. I lived an unhealthy life. Not as bad as he did in many respects, but, all up until about a year before he died, he was doing fine. And that last year or two, maybe it was 2 years, it was just downhill and like a fast train to Georgia. Fast train to Georgia with no tracks. Well, he's gone. He was just gone in an instant. I knew things were looking bad. I didn't think it was going to be over as quickly as it was. I figured he'd waste away a while, but he never wanted to go to the doctor. He never wanted to go to the ER. And, I don't want to get in all that, but the point is, the last time I had to browbeat him, I said, you just need to go to the damn ER. And it's a good thing I did, because it was the last time I ever saw him alive. Last time I spoke to him. I left him off at the hospital, same hospital I go to for my health problems. And, perfectly thought that, maybe a day or two, he'd be going back over there to pick him up. I thought he'd call that night, or, I told him to call me that night. And, so I was just waiting and waiting. We didn't have the greatest of relationships, but, things are things. And so I waited. I never heard from him. So I figured, I know the hospital, they must be okay. 6 o'clock in the morning, I get a call because they can't find his son, who was legally responsible for handling it. Well, they call me to looking for him. 6 o'clock in the morning. When I picked the phone up, it was a nurse in the place where he was, in the exact same ward or whatever you want to call it. And she was frantically trying to get a hold of his son, who had to make the final calls and all of this. And he was nowhere to be found. That's another story. But the point is, she told me what happened. She said he had a massive stroke that night. And I knew by then, when they said that, knowing the problems that he had, that it was over. I knew, I tried to be optimistic, but I pretty much knew that was the end, that she said that. And I'd asked her in the course of our little discussion, I said, I told him to call me. Why didn't he call me? We hadn't gotten to the part what happened yet. And she said, well, he told us not to bother you, meaning me, which was unlike him. He was sort of a hard ass about everything. For some reason, it was like he almost knew it was the end. Why he didn't at least let me know, I'll never know. But I was there waiting. And anyway, I don't want to get into all the personal stuff. But the point is, a lot of deep things have gone on in my life since then, because I'm the last one standing, so to speak. I have a half-sister whom I don't always get along very well with, put it that way, to put it softly and gently. But she's far away. She's not even in the States right now. She hadn't been for a long time. And she's not by blood either, so that kind of weird too. But again, I won't get into the personal stuff. But I'm the last blood standing, so to speak, other than another sister who, that's another personal issue. I don't get it. But I haven't seen her in years. She doesn't want anything to do with any of us. So it's just basically us three, two sisters and me. And I'm all alone on my own. Very little money, living on disability, which is chump change crumbs. With inflation today, it's even worse. Can't get a job, even though I look and I try. And that's another story. I don't want to get in all the personal stuff, but the point is, in the course of the last year since he's gone, I've been pretty much on my own, trying to find my own way. What do I want to do with the last season of my life? I promised myself when my mother died, seeing the way that happened, shortly before I got sick, actually, a year before I got sick with the same thing that killed her. And eventually, fortunately, I'm still standing. She didn't last but about 6 months after she got what she got. And nobody knows why she got it. Or what it was called by me, I do know. I drank too damn much for too long. And I stopped. I got the same thing she's got or had. And so, I always start from the premise knowing that my days are numbered, probably a lot shorter than most people. So, you got to decide what means the most in life, what's most important. Is it worrying about, getting a paycheck and paying your bills, or is it being comfortable and following what time you have left in this world to make you dream, or part of what you dreamed along the way that got shattered here and there, pulling it all back together, making something of it. Now, you all know I'm a girlish guy. I have that girl thing. That's part of it. Part of it's right here. She keeps me going, little Hannah, named after a Starbucks girl that I sort of got crazy with. I never got to know her, but never forget her. But, her name was Hannah. I named little Hannah after Hannah. And, big Hannah, she had all things wrong about me and who I was. Well, I did about her at the time, but I kind of understand things better. I have my suspicions about things, why they turned out. I can't say anything, I have to leave it alone. That's another story too, but I haven't forgotten her, and I certainly don't want to forget her. She's just most sweetest. I couldn't love the big Hannah, but I can love this little Hannah. That's why I named her Little Hannah. Anyway, so That girl, for whatever reason, little does she know, she sort of started off something right before all this happened, right after my mother died, right after I got sick. I just happened to get a cup of coffee. There's this beautiful girl that's half my age with dreadlocks. And boy, I just fucked it up. I always fucking anyway, make a long story short, the ball started rolling about that time. So, here I am, trying to find out, where do I go now? Where do I go? She's actually got a good job. She's a real estate agent down in Salem, somewhere down there in Roanoke area. So she'd kill me if she knew as much as I know about her, that she probably doesn't know I do. And she tries to hide, but she's not good at it. But I don't have any nefarious purpose. I just check up just to make sure, the girl's okay. I really did fuck it up with her. I feel so bad. I wish I could say something, but I can't. And anyway, that's part of this whole process for me. There's a lot of things I wish I had done in my life when I was hurt. So I could have come to this point in life, be settled and, not be worrying about things, simple little things like getting a cup of coffee, fumes of gas to get up the street, and stuff like that. People take that stuff for granted, but, that's how bad my life has gotten. But in a way, it's good that I still have that young spirit that was attracted to that young girl. It's still alive in me. So I have a little old wiseness and a little flighty sort of playfulness. So in the course of coming to all these conclusions about all these different little things, I wouldn't even say these conclusions. Life is never a conclusion. Nothing is ever a conclusion until you're dead in the ground and there's nothing to have to conclude with, but you are with the earth that you came from. So needless to say, I don't even know what I'm going to say here, but I'm working on, something was telling me, you should do some graphics, something creative oriented to make money, make a living for yourself, because you can't live with disability. And I didn't want to do this anyway. That's a long story how that all got started. I wanted to make my mark in this world. When the old Jewish guy, our family has a certain cynicism that's not politically correct, never was. I grew up in the 70s. I don't believe in that nonsense. We have our stereotypical things about different classes of people. Jews, everybody has their thoughts. Everybody's afraid to say certain things. Same with black people, blah, blah. I live in a area of town that's completely black. I call it the ghetto. It's not quite as bad as certain other black areas of town that are ghettos worse than this one. But, if I was a redneck, I'd be out in some redneck place, and that would be just as bad. There's all these little sort of, we call them this and that, but there are certain common things that are just common things amongst people. And I think that gets lost in all this noise about trying to make everybody feel good when, living doesn't always feel good. It's good to be uncomfortable because change, progress, and dreams never are realized unless you're uncomfortable at times. So, I don't know. I really don't know this is totally off the cuff. And people may think I'm crazy. I don't want to keep it too long, meandering. I have a bad habit of doing that when I do these videos, audio stuff. But I'm going to start a podcast called The Zing, which I'm going to do on a subscription model. All of you out there that want to help as I get this thing going, this movement, I'm trying to have a Rosa Parks moment. I've been having so many already. But I'm going to get my fat ass on the front of that bus, and I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm not going to have somebody tell me I got to sit in the back of the bus. I worked all damn day, been doing this shit for years, and then some old guy going through the motion, some white guy in the front of the bus telling me to go in the back of the bus. I just want to go home and eat. Well, in my case, I just want to go home and have the world hear that I have a legacy and something to say too. Movement to start, that make the world better rather than worse, and stop taking things as they are and make them better if we can make them better. Now, the details are, devil's always in the details with all these things. But I realize that, I'm not here to start a war, hopefully. Of course, some of the positions I take on these would start wars with people who think certain ways and refuse to open their mind and conscience to the reality that we're all humans here. We can either kill each other or, as was said in the Barry Goldwater ad, when LBJ ran against him in 1964, we can choose to take our children into the dark, or we can blah, blah. Anyway, first soft-serve political commercial. Look it up on YouTube. You'll know what I'm trying to allude to. But I'm a deep thinking person. Everybody said I should get in radio. Well, I started to do radio and video here lately. I like both. And I love music. I'm trying to learn how to do music. I'm not real good at that, but I'm still trying. Still something I want to do. Creative. I do graphics, art. I love that too. And, I love all this stuff. So bring it together, make a movement out of it. Make it all together for this movement. I remember Stephen Stills, they were talking about in an interview relatively recently, about he was talking about the movement that started Crosby, Stills and Nash. How in Ohio they got on the subject of how that song was written. One of my favorites since high school in the 80s when I first discovered it. So, anyway, he was talking basically about everybody has their place in time. Their time is coming on. And I think David Crosby said something about, people got to find their place again. Nobody's got their place. Well, I'm going to try to find my place and make a statement. And I'm doing this off the cuff. So I don't know what this will look like in the end. I'll just post it as is raw and let you, go to my site and maybe sign up for a subscription. I might do them 6 months at first, like, $5 a month. I'll always post at least one a week or one every 2 weeks or something. I'll put some extras in there. But, I can't, I don't want to be out there bumming money just to say I need $1. I'll give you my thoughts for that, for what it's worth. And maybe you can help me as I get established to bring my voice to the table and bring some change to this country, to the nation, to all of us, and to me, myself. As I reach the end of my life and my voice and my place is gone, maybe someone will be inspired to find their place from me finding my own place. Carry the torch for me as I move to the, fade to black and someone fades to white, and we have a new story to tell and a better nation ahead and a better argument, better people at the table to deal with. Anyway, butterflies. Just remember my logo now for all my creative arts. It's the butterfly, and that's for a reason. It started with the music thing, but it's transformation. The girl thing, the guy thing. It's all coming together. So anyway, I just want to leave it at that. I'm kicking 20 minutes here. I don't know who's going to watch this or who gives a fuck, but, got to do something. So help me out, folks. Subscribe, pass this around. I will be posting stuff on my feed. If you see this video somewhere else other than Facebook, do whatever, I will post something with it where you can follow my content as I move forward with this project and try to do something with it. So just call me the Zing, and my closing statement will always be, that's my 2 cents, because there's a lot more cents required to make $1, to buy change. To make grace takes even more than $1. It takes determination, and it takes faith that, the dollar may not be there every day. what's in your heart and soul will carry on forever. Whether you're religious or not, life, there is an afterlife in what you do in the life you have today. Good day.